put my stitch length on 5, which is a basting stitch, and we're going to baste the entire zipper since we're not, we're going to rip it out later since it's just a sample. And I'm going to pin my fabric that's already pre-cut. I'm going to pin the lengthwise seam together, and then I'm just going to sew a basting stitch lengthwise, and I'm not going to back stitch or anything. I'm just going to sew a 5/8 of an inch seam. I'm going to take my pins out before I get to them. And I'm going to sew off. Notice I didn't back stitch. And I'm going to trim that. Trim this. And I'm going to change to a zipper foot. I'm going to take my presser foot off. I'm going to release the bottom number 1 foot. And I'm going to put on a zipper foot. You just kind of press it on there and put it on. And then I've got to move the needle. I think I'm going to start with the needle on the left and make sure my threads are under my presser foot. I'm going to open the fabric just like in this bottom picture. So I want to put my zipper on the right side, and I'm going to lay the zipper face down, and I'm going to pin the zipper teeth to touch the seam. And I'm not going to pin the entire zipper because the foot tends to get in the way just a little bit. So I'm going to zip this zipper up just a little bit. And I'm going to kind of just line up the zipper the equal distance. And I'll make sure that I've got, whoops, I caught a little bit of my seam. Okay, so now I'm going to start at the bottom of the zipper, and the zipper foot looks like it's in the center of the zipper, but my needle is actually on the left. And once again, I'm going to remove the pins before I sew over them. They could break your needle. Sometimes when people put in a zipper, they break needles because they forget to move the needle over. I'm going to leave my needle in and pick up my presser foot. I'm going to zip my zipper down, and then I'm going to go ahead and sew all the way off. Somewhere. Sorry, dropped a pin. Okay. And I'm going to sew all the way off. I'm going to trim my threads. I'm going to go to the iron for just a moment. That iron, oh, I thought I plugged it in. Okay, and I'm going to go over here to the iron. Let me just plug the iron in real quick. Okay. Make sure and it's getting hot, so I'm going to zip the zipper up, and I'm going to press all the fabric to the other side away from the zipper. And you want to make sure that your iron is steaming because it'll press better. Okay, and then we're going to go back to the sewing machine. And I'm always working from the bottom of the zipper. I'm going to move the needle to the right. And I'm going to sew right between the seam on the edge of the folded part. And once again, I'm not back stitching or anything. And I'm just sewing right on the edge of the folded edge of the fabric to connect my zipper on the inside. And I'm putting my needle down, and I'm going to zip my zipper down to keep this straighter here. Of course, it's not cooperating, because the zipper foot just kind of gets in the way. So I have one side sewed. I'm going to trim my threads. I'm going to press one more thread here, sorry. I'm going to close my zipper, and I'm going to press everything down again. So I'm going to go to the iron again, and I want to make sure everything's flat. And this time we're going to sew through everything, and I'm going to make like a L. I'm going to sew across here. So back to the sewing machine. And I'm going to start like right along the last seam I sewed. And I am going to back stitch because otherwise the L will come out. So I'm going to just stitch across, and I don't want to stitch too far. So I'm trying to get it even, and then I'm going to back stitch, and then I'm going to go forward. And I just want to be about equal distance from the other side here. And like I said, it looks like your zipper foot is in the center of the zipper, but you're stitching on the side. And kind of try to move it over a little bit. And you really can't zip it down. Whoops, there, it just catches right there. And you'll sew off. And I did get a little crooked around the slide of the zipper. And then my last step will be to open up my seam, and I'll take a seam ripper, and I'm just going to rip from the top of the L. And you're going to want to rip this out. You can start at the bottom or you can start at the top. And you'll want to get rid of all the little threads, and we're done. Thank you.